Hey everyone, this is Noah Steele, and for my next tutorial, before I get to the eventual scribing tutorial that is, I thought I'd just go over the basics of how to handle and bend and shape photo etched parts. In this tutorial, we're just going to first of all go over how to remove photo etched parts like these from their runners or gates or whatever you want to call them. I'm not really sure what you would call these because they're not made of plastic. Then we're also going to go over how you actually handle these, because a lot of times photo etch parts are very small and you can't just use regular tweezers to handle them. So I'll be showing you a pretty clever method that I caught up somewhere on a military forum years ago. And then we'll also be looking at how to use two very neat tools to bend and shape photo etch parts. So before we get started, let's just go over some of the things you're going to need. Obviously, if you're working with photo etch parts, you're going to need photo etch parts. Right here, I've got some very highly detailed and small parts for detailing tank kits, because from time to time, I also work on 35th scale tank models. Also, you're going to need some post-it notes like these. I'll explain why later. Some tweezers, although this won't be your main tool. You're going to need an X-Acto knife for removing photo etch parts from the runners. You're not going to use nippers, but this X-Acto knife. If you do have extra tools, here I've got two quite useful tools that I'll be showing you later on, but they're not an absolute must. Then, this is an absolute must for this tutorial. This is Mr. Masking Solution Neo. This is very cool stuff. Let me just demonstrate how this works. It goes on like a liquid. I'm just going to put that on my hand. Luckily it's not hazardous to skin. And eventually it dries into this weird gooey plasticky stuff. See, I can just easily rub it off my hand and roll it between my fingers, and what I get is this weird rubbery mass. And that's going to come very much in handy later on. Then, of course, you're going to need really strong glue. This is cyanacrylate glue, or CA glue. It has to be really strong because metal parts usually can't be glued to plastic with regular glue. You're also going to need toothpicks, very important. And for annealing the photo etch parts, you're also going to need a lighter, preferably with small sheeps and sunshine balloons on them. Okay, so first we're just going to start off by removing one of these many photo etch parts from this runner. And as I said before, you're only going to need a X-Acto knife because, I mean, look at these spaces. It's so narrow, you're not going to get a nipper through there. And the point is actually to remove as much of the excess PE material, this brass. Done. See, it's got gates just like plastic parts, and you're only going to be able to remove most of those gates with an X-Acto knife. So be very exact. Try to remove the part right where that gate meets the part. And there you go, because that way you're not going to have a lot of excess material on there. And if I can tell you one thing, getting excess brass off of PE parts is very difficult. So you're going to want to cut really close to the PE parts to get as much off of there as possible. And that's pretty much how you remove photo etched parts. So when you've got a photo etched part as small as this one, this is actually a circular disc. It looks like a bolt. You're probably going to ask yourself, how in the heck am I going to get this part onto there? Because using tweezers is kind of difficult. Remember, you have to put glue on one side, and that can go wrong pretty fast. So what I'm going to show you right now is how I apply glue to one side of the part and am still able to put it onto a plastic part very easily. What you're going to do is you're going to take your CA glue and spread it on this post-it note. Just spread it out. You don't need a whole lot because it's just one part, but if you're using multiple parts, you're going to need more. Then take a toothpick and your Mr. Masking Neo solution. It's kind of difficult behind the camera, but I'll try to do my best. Put some of the solution onto the toothpick, and this is going to act as a glue for one side of this little bolt right here. We're just going to dab that on there, and we've got a secure hold on that bolt. So we're just going to touch the bolt slightly to the glue right there. Hold on. There. It's got glue on one side, and then we're going to glue it onto the part somewhere. Usually you can pretty much determine where you want it, but right now I'm just trying to put it somewhere. You can dab it down, and then because the solution is very low tack, it's just going to come right off again. And once this dries, you can scratch the rest of the Mr. Masking Neo solution off there as well. And this is a very handy way of applying especially very small photo etched parts, because you can't use tweezers all the time because eventually you might drop them, and especially if you've got glue on one side already, that's kind of bad if you've got them sticking to your table then. So this is a very, very good alternative. If you take a look at this old tank model I built over 2 years ago, you're going to see very fine details here and there, and this is all photo etch stuff, like this guard around the lamp here. This is photo etch, which was bent to shape and then glued via the method I just showed you. And also on the hatch up here, we've got this tiny little spring which was put into place and glued there with the method I just showed you. Some more PE right here. Also this one right here was bent into shape, and of course on the turret up here, I think this is some sort of an aiming mechanism for the machine gun. But basically this is what you can achieve with a simple method, which is the one I just showed you, and some detailed PE parts of course. In the last part of this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you two quite cool tools that I use to bend and shape photo etch parts. But before you want to try to bend any photo etch part, you'll always want to anneal it. And annealing means just holding it over a lighter or a fire from a match or something to make this really hot and relieve stress that's inside of the photo etch part. And that way it'll bend easier and you can get more bends out of the part before it breaks. Because sometimes very thin photo etch parts, they can break easily while you bend them. So all you pretty much do is take your cute little lighter right here and just hold this part over the flame. You're going to see some discoloration on the back of the part, but once you prime and paint over it, it's going to disappear. And for a small part like this, you're not actually going to need a whole lot of time over the flame, and especially the tweezer will heat up eventually and you'll burn your fingers. That's pretty much all you're going to have to do to bend a part like this, or before bending it, that is. The first tool I'm going to be showing you right here is a so-called hold and fold set. Basically what this does, if you look at this part right here, you'll see these tiny grooves along the part, and these are the areas where the part is meant to be bent. So what that means is when you want to perform a certain bend on the part, you're going to unscrew this so that you can slide the part under there, and then using this tool right here, it's just plastic, you're going to reach under that part and just bend it into shape. And I'm not going to actually be talking while doing this because it's kind of complicated, so you'll just have to watch. Right now I've got this part clamped in under the hold and fold set. I'm just going to reach in under there with this piece of plastic, and I'm going to slowly bend it upwards like so. Going to give it a 90-degree bend there. Hold on, and there we go. Now I can unscrew this, take this guy out, and as you can see, I successfully bended this part up. And if you have to make final bends or alterations to the bend, you can use tweezers, but be very careful not to break the part and to stress it too much. And And once we've gotten all the bends done correctly, this is what this part is going to look like. I'm actually not really sure what it is, but yeah, so you pretty much see how helpful one of these hold and fold sets can be. It's a very simple tool, but very effective. And some of these bends can be done with tweezers alone, like this big one, this big side right here, but especially the back right here has this small side. That can't be done with tweezers alone. You're going to need one of these tools. So it is worth picking up if you're going to be working with photo etch a lot. The second and last tool I'll be showing you is used to bend parts into circular shapes, such as this ammo casing right here, where it's actually a rack for these ammo shells. This is for a World War II kit, and as you can see, these shells are round, and so this one has to be rounded so that these can later on fit into there. What we're going to use is one of these. Basically what we've got here is the bottom half of a mold, I guess you could say, and then these round little wooden, not bricks, but round wooden pieces, and they each fit into a corresponding part of the mold. And first of all, you're going to have to look how wide the round right here is in terms of the diameter, and you're going to have to decide on how far you're going to bend this one into a round shape. And I would suggest starting off with the biggest part of the mold and just working your way up to the smaller ones. Just keep getting smaller and smaller. You're going to put the photo etch part in there under this wooden brick piece or whatever. You're just going to turn it around like so and keep moving forward and forward. Note, I already annealed this photo etched part before taping this, so that's always a good thing to keep in mind, to anneal your photo etch parts before bending them. It's getting rounder and rounder. Now this is going to be a big step forward right here. This is a lot smaller than the last mold. Right there, oh yeah. Be sure not to bend it in a crooked way. Be very careful not to stress the part too much. There we go. It's getting there. Obviously we're going to have to bend it a couple times more, but eventually we will reap the rewards. And eventually we're going to get something that looks a bit like this. As you can see right here at the front, this piece will have to be either glued or soldered together so that it is perfectly round. But I think I already got the diameter down right. These rounds should fit in there pretty well. And that's pretty much how this tool comes into use. You'll start out with the biggest mold first and then slowly work your way up to the proper size. And it's very useful because getting these round bends into parts is pretty much impossible without a tool like this. So if you're working with a lot of rounded photo etch parts, like this one, I can definitely recommend this tool. And it's not very complex, so it's not too expensive. I hope you enjoyed this short tutorial. It's not for everyone because not everyone is going to be working with photo etch parts. But if you ever think about looking into resin conversion kits or stuff like that, a lot of them do come with small photo etch parts just to add more detail to the final kit. And I guess if you're not going to be working with a lot of photo etch, these two tools that I showed you probably won't be too necessary, but the more and more you get involved with photo etch, you're probably going to want to think about picking one of these tools up, or possibly even both. There's actually also more tools out there, but I never really needed any other ones than these. So I hope you found this helpful and a bit interesting, and yeah, see you in the next video or tutorial, whichever. Take care.